Meanwhile, NATO has expressed concern over snap military drills being staged by Russia. There's been widespread speculation in Western media that Moscow could intervene in Ukraine, despite Russia insisting the exercises were pre-planned and nothing to do with the situation across the border. Devan Motsei has been following the headlines.
If you've read the paper or watched the news these last few days, it would be understandable if you're feeling a little anxious. After all, just look at these headlines. Russia flexes its military muscle. Putin orders militaries to readiness. And the U.S. wants Russia not to intervene. Now, to someone out of the loop, it all sounds like a bad plot from a very bad World War III movie. What's worse, it's not just the ad revenue-hungry news outlets peddling this. It's Western defense ministers and even NATO. Now, the alliance says that Russia is holding military exercises now is being provocative, irresponsible, and, according to some of its members, even dangerous. Now, a serious charge by any measure, except one that NATO and its members don't take very seriously when it comes to their own games. In fact, NATO drills often appear to be as much a political message as a matter of readiness. And you certainly don't have to look very far for those examples. In 2012, at the height of the Iran-US nuclear program standoff, Washington staged what was its biggest ever naval war game, almost within viewing distance from the Iranian beaches. Now, the next year, the U.S. invited 41 countries, their battleships, aircraft carriers and submarines to play pretend war on Iran's doorsteps. Last November, as China and Japan verged on armed conflict over disputed islands, the U.S. launched its annual drills with Tokyo. Now, once that, by pure coincidence, says Washington simulated an island capture. And let's not forget the U.S. nuclear bombers flying through airspace in China, controversially claimed as its own. That was also, by the way, described as an unrelated Air Force exercise by the U.S. Now, in Korea, where nuclear rhetoric between the South and North was at fever pitch, the U.S. put its contingent there on alert and again held drills aimed officially at countering northern aggression. Now, all these examples just from the past few years. So, perhaps Mr. Rasmussen and U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel may want to be a little bit more subtle when it comes to them criticizing other countries for holding military drills, especially when they're happening in their own territory.